Today I'm going to be brewing the clone of the Four Peaks Brewery in Arizona. I think it's Tempe, Arizona. Their Hop Not IPA. It's a West Coast style IPA. You can only get it in Arizona. I live on the East Coast, so clearly I can't get it here. I had it a few years ago. It was pretty good. It reminded me of the Dogfish Head 60-minute IPA, so I figured I'd give it a shot. So we'll see how it goes. The ABV on the commercial version is 6.7. I'm hoping to get around 6%, depending on how my efficiency is today during the brew day. So I have a list of what's going inside this beer. We have 10 pounds of two-row, 3 pounds of Belgian Pale, 12 ounces of Crystal 20, and then for the hops, we have a lot of hops. We have 0.7 ounces Magnum at 60 minutes, 0.85 ounces Glacier at 30 minutes, 0.85 ounces Liberty at 30 minutes, 0.85 ounces of Cascade at 5 minutes, 0.85 ounces Simcoe at 5 minutes, and then we have flame out hops as well. 1.7 ounce of Cascade at flame out, 1 ounce of Simcoe at flame out. I'm going to rest those two flame out for 5 to 10 minutes, similar to how it's done with the heady topper, where you let it sit for 15 minutes before chilling. I'm just going to do about 5 minutes. And then dry hop, we have 1.7 ounces of Cascade for 7 days and 1.7 ounces of Simcoe for 7 days. And the yeast that I'm using is going to be the White Lab 007. So it's pretty involved beer as far as the hop schedule, the grain not so much, and we'll just see how it goes. Hopefully it'll come out good. I have high expectations, and when it is kegs, I will show the final product as I usually do. Probably going to give it about 2 to 3 weeks before I do the tasting, so it should have enough time for the hops to mellow out a little bit and all the flavors to come together. Okay, so we're at almost 150 degrees. It's time to mash in. I'm not going to film all of it again because it's boring. And there is gypsum, Epsom salt, and calcium chloride in here to enhance some of the water profile, as well as to add some more of the, get some of the acid, alpha acids out of the hops. And it is a fairly fine crush. I'm trying to do an experiment to see if this will bring the efficiency up at all. The efficiency hasn't been more than 68, maybe 70 since I've had the Grainfather, and I want to see if it has to do with the crush. I'm also going to mash for 75 minutes and see if that does anything. So when I'm done mashing in, I'll get filling again. Okay, as with most of the Grainfather mashes, they're pretty thick. Not as thick as some of the other ones I've done, but this is definitely oatmeal-like consistency. Put the cover plate on. Try and get down as even as I can. Trying to hold 150. For some reason the temperature went up to 151, but I assume it'll regulate. I usually don't have the issue of it going up, usually the issue of it going down. And start the pump. For some reason mine takes longer than I've seen others for the pump to start really going. Like, it's just drizzling out right now. And there's no clogs, I know that. I just think mine's just a slower pump. Anyway, it's going, so do this for 75 minutes and we'll be back at the end of the mash. Okay, so we finished the 75-minute mash. I also gave it a 10-minute mash out at 170 degrees. Just starting to sparge now. I haven't started adding the water in yet. I'm going to let this drain. see if maybe I was doing too quick of a sparge as well in the past. Maybe that's why the efficiency was also lower. The gravity at the end of the mash was 1.066, so we'll see how much it drops after we add the sparge water. And when I'm done with the sparge, and right at the beginning of the boil, I will resume filming. Okay, we just got past the hot break, and I just want to check the final pre-boil gravity. Before the sparge it was 1.066. For some reason we're at 1.066 still. So I did a super slow sparge. Perhaps the original reading wasn't 100% accurate yet, or maybe this current reading is a little off because it is at boiling and it has not adjusted for the temperature variance. However, it seems like it's pretty close to what I want it to be. Now I'm going to add the first addition. I'm going to use the hop spider because of the amount of hops that are in this. And this is 0.70 ounces of Magnum. Is that yeah. Forgot what we're using here. I think it's Magnum. Forgot my recipe. Yep. At the 30-minute mark, 0.85 ounces of Glacier and 0.85 ounces of Liberty. At the 15-minute mark, going to add some yeast nutrient and a Whirlfloc tablet. We're at 5 minutes, so we're going to add the 0.85 ounces of Simcoe and 0.85 ounces of Cascade. And I'm also going to start recirculating the wort through the counterflow chiller to sanitize it. Okay, we're at the 0-minute mark, so we're going to add the 1.7 ounces of Simcoe and 1.7 ounces of Cascade. And we're just going to let these sit. I'm going to give it 5 minutes. The 5 minutes is up, so now I'm going to start transferring over to the fermenter. Oop, that didn't work. Good thing everything's sanitized. Let's try that again. The reason I'm using this strainer is because of the amount of hops. They're still going to get through both filters. And my groundwater is really cold. It's still winter here, so I don't need to really worry about keeping this faucet on the full entire time it's transferring over, because it'll get it down to 50 degrees if I don't watch it. And I'll be back when I start adding the oxygen and adding the yeast. Okay, we're just going to add some oxygen for about 15-20 seconds. And then we'll be throwing the yeast starter in. Okay, and we're back for the yeast. Okay, for the yeast starter I did a 16 liter, and I didn't have time to throw it in the fridge to decant it, so I'm going to throw all of it in. And there it goes. And I'm going to ferment this at 62 to 63 degrees for the first few days, and then we're going to bump it up to 65 degrees and then eventually up to 68 degrees.